The Ministry of Health would like to appreciate Ugandans for their cooperation in ensuring that COVID-19 standard operation procedures are adhered to. However, it would also like to remind the public that cases of Neglect tropical diseases are still many. And for that matter, the Ministry of Health, together with Ascend Project, would like to encourage all the people who have signs and symptoms such as swollen stomachs, swollen legs, also known as elephantiasis, and difficult in seeing or blindness, to seek treatment from the nearest government health facilities. Please remember to stay safe and protect yourself by regular hand washing with soap and clean running water, keeping dirty hands away from your eyes, always using pit latrines and discouraging open defecation in your community to avoid flies that carry germs, reporting to health facility early when feeling unwell. This message is brought to you by Ministry of Health with support from Ascend Project.
Welcome, dear viewer, to Let's Kick COVID-19 Out of Uganda and Amande Akol Amazima, where today we look at the various interventions or initiatives at the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives of how they can actually help the traders, industrialists and cooperators this time of the pandemic, which is actually ravaging and also affecting very many sectors. With me in studio is the Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Honorable Francis Mwebesa. You're welcome.
Welcome.
Next to him is the State Minister for Cooperatives, Honorable Gume Frederick Ngobi. You're also welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, viewers.
Yes, I start with Honorable Francis Mwebesa. You actually come to government with an experience of being an industrialist, being a trader and a cooperator. But you also came in, or you're sworn in, at a time the world is facing a pandemic. And it's the very first time, actually, that we're seeing a government commencing business amid such a pandemic. So what are your plans for the traders, industrialists and cooperators as we fight this pandemic that has been with us now for 2 years?
I'm glad you are saying fight the pandemic. The fight for the pandemic is everybody's responsibility. I would give a message, first of all, to the industrialists, to the trader, to everybody, to adhere to the current situation and the general rules given out by the government, specifically of the president's directives of how everybody in this country should behave, sector by sector. And I would think that the industrialist, the trader, and even the cooperator should certainly be the first person to observe these guidelines given for fighting the epidemic.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable. Yes, I go to Honorable Gume. You really have an experience, so first of all, having been chairman LC5 in Jinja. Yes. You've actually, this is now your second term in the ministry. Let's look at the cooperators, because cooperators, most of them are actually agriculturalists. Most of them, you find that they are into circles, and most of them are really small-scale traders. So how are you planning for these cooperators who are down there, one who cannot move, but also afraid of the pandemic?
Thank you very much, moderator. To all cooperators and every Ugandan, this pandemic is real. It has caused havoc for the past 2 years. Like you very well know, the economy of our country depends on agriculture. And agriculture, the moment we cease in production, then we are in for some trouble. How does a cooperator, a farmer, sustain himself? Like my senior colleague has said, we must, whether in the villages or in the towns, observe the SOPs as laid down by the Ministry of Health. 2, we must not stay home to sleep, but we must go to the farms to produce, because this is the time when we require the efforts of the farmers, especially the cooperators, to be more active. Now, what do we expect to do for the cooperators? In production, there must be, this is the time for us now to use the cooperators to access seedlings or agricultural inputs. And there is nowhere we shall pass other than through the cooperative movement. Number 2, dissemination of information to reach the grassroots people should also be through the cooperatives. You are the people who are supposed to help us and also cause some changes in behavior down amongst the cooperators, the way they live, the way they act. And they should also be doing business, not doing business as usual. 3, we have a responsibility as the ministry to provide information to the cooperators on the prevailing market circumstances of all your produce. We should be an avenue. But above all, the ministry is trying, and this is most important, we are trying to reduce on the post-harvest losses and handling. How do we do this? We have carried out an assessment, and we are going to renovate your stores within your areas to assist you to be able to reduce on the losses of post-harvest, and also ensuring you know the forces of supply and demand. When the production is a lot, the prices go low. So we shall use those stores to ensure that your commodities are kept safe, and also we are going to use the program of REDIP. There is the Rural Industrialization Development Program that we have at the ministry. This program shall give you an opportunity to add value on what you produce. But also, there is what we call the warehouse receipt system. This warehouse receipt system should now be operationalized, especially in this pandemic. How do we do it? Get your produce, take in the stores. In the stores, in your warehouses, we have already licensed many warehouses. The warehouses will give you a receipt. This receipt will be like a land title. The receipt is capital. You should leave your products in the warehouse. Say you have 10,000 kilos of coffee, you are given a receipt. Now, if you feel you are so burdened financially, you take this receipt to a financial institution.
Like a bank?
Like a bank. It will be honored. Now, if you are financially stressed, you will get some money. And when you get this money, the money will help you to solve your problem. But at the same time, when the prices now normalize and we have got good prices for you, then we shall be able to tell you after that aggregate, sell your properties, get money, but we reduce with what we have lent you. That is the warehouse receipt system. We want to walk the talk. Then lastly, capitalization. You know, there is government intervention for small traders. Equally, the cooperators will receive this subvention to assist us in the way we do business. I'm also calling upon the UCTU, the Uganda Cooperative Transport Union. This will be used. Of recently, I've heard they have purchased many trucks. The Uganda Cooperative Transport Union should be able to now assist in the transportation of the produce from the cooperators. We have the health cooperatives. The health cooperatives must supplement government efforts in education, treatment, and also informing the public. You are requested to move together with the village health teams and inform the public on the do's and the don'ts. I went to the village recently. People are still converging on pots of Marwa. This is very dangerous. So we need to get in touch with the local governments because we need our people alive. And when they are alive, they can contribute to production. And when they contribute to production, we can go back to normality. This is what I'm looking at as government intervention.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable Gume. We come back to Honorable Mwebesa. There is a complaint out there, especially to the retailers, because their suppliers are wholesalers, and some wholesalers actually cannot access their warehouses because of transport. Others, they have warehouses in arcades, which are actually were locked down. So as a ministry, what measures are you putting in place so that the retailers down there do not fall short of the supplies they're supposed to sell?
That thing is, again, as I said, the traders, the suppliers, I mean, whoever it is, wholesaler or retailer, must realize that there is a problem. And when we as a government intervene to that problem, it is quite advisable that we get the people, at least the leadership of, let's say for trade, at the moment, it is a challenge. This country has got, at the moment, different trading groups. You hear about Casita, you hear about what and what. But for a short while, these people should be consulted in the decision making about what is going to, about this place. The people who have got the money, who are in charge. What brings the problem is these people on the street who have always been the problem anyway in Kampala. Those ones, they don't have any leadership. It is myself, I make chapati, I say it on the road and so on. But we have had a few meetings with the people who are concerned about what can happen. And we are still talking, the task force is trying to see how these people can survive to the minimum by using IT. For instance, the food industry, the restaurants and everything, or even shops. You can get an order
online,
and then they can bring you goods. There is no need of something like that. Again, we have had a complaint of some people of their goods which were locked inside. But again, as I told you, it is these people who are in the town, loitering all around. It's an urban problem. But then those ones, so we are calling them the desperate ones.
Yes.
That's why we are providing them for some money to live on. But the traders, the retailer, the wholesaler, the what, we should give them the bare minimum of being carrying out to their businesses. But when we are making decisions, I think they should also participate, the leadership should also participate
in the decision process.
In setting up a policy in such a crisis. And they are quite willing. We met them, and we think something will come out of it.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Mwebesa. We hope that actually the various leaders of the traders, of the industrialists, under their various associations actually, yes, should expeditiously work with government so that this can be ironed out. Now we go to Honorable Gome. We find that, of course, there are already reports of price fluctuation. A bank of matoke that ordinarily used to go for 20,000 is now at 7,000. So this price fluctuation, we risk that is going to discourage actually traders. So is government coming up with some kind of a stabilization fund so that really we don't see people again running away from agriculture, which is the backbone of our economy?
I think it is true that prices of agricultural commodities are reducing, but it is not a bad situation, because we are lucky we have a country that can have produce all the time, all the year round. If this price fluctuation was now for a bunch of matoke to be at 20,000, given the pandemic, that will cause more trouble. But how do we come in to save the farmer down there who is selling his bunch at 7,000? Definitely, the government is coming in with interventions. The first intervention is we want to extend credit to these farmers and subvention in form of capital, but credit which is cheap credit through, say, the microfinance support center, which can easily be accessed easily by the farmer. But at the same time, the farmer will be helped to also access broader markets. And also the farmer must look at avenues of supplementing what he or she produces. There must be a variety. You don't only need to concentrate on banana. You must use what the president usually says, ekibalo. You say, if I invested in this, what is the cost? And how will I benefit from it? Now, are we going to do this? We have commercial officers. In every district in this country, we have a commercial officer. These commercial officers are going also to look at the local economic development. We want them to have an assessment. How many people are involved in what area? You also mentioned about parish chiefs. You know, a parish chief in a parish, like my parish, will know who is producing what, who is doing what, who is not doing any work. So when we come to extending credit, these people must get credit at a cheaper rate. Expensive money cannot benefit an agriculturalist. But the government is giving inputs. We've given people inputs. They have given tractors. Before you remembered, around January, every district received tractors that these cooperators are using. Now, that is a product of massive production emanating from the tractor distribution, the operation where the creation has given seedlings. So now, we are happy. We should celebrate that there is increased production. Now, if that government intervention was not there, then you would get a problem of expensive food, but at the cost of the people they are giving out money now. Even if they give you 100,000, if the food was expensive, what would the purchasing power of 100,000 be? So that has addressed the other end, but the government also must look at interventions. We are going to look at value addition. For example, you're producing maize, kasoli. We don't need to export this maize in its format. We need to add value such that when you have added value, you can now export packed flour. And then the byproducts of the maize can assist in animal feed. So we are saying you have a farm of matoke, you have 2 cows, you have poultry. So the products from here can only assist you in the other products, such that you are self-sustaining in your level. And that needs mindset change, that needs continuous education, and that's what we are going to do as a government.
Well, thank you very much. I go to Honorable Magesa. We find that most actually industrialists, successful industrialists, are actually people of age, senior members, and there is a crisis of transport. We cannot effectively supervise actually their industries, and you also see there's also the issue of the slowed down economic activities, that it may affect the market of what of their produce. So what interventions are you putting in place that one, such people can easily access their offices so that perhaps they can work, or how are they being facilitated, or how are they being trained to work at home, to work online at home?
Well, it is, as you say, this is a crisis, and every idea is being used. Some use IT, working in offices, and some who are needed to go to work. You have seen some people with a sticker to get down to the office.
Some are complaining that.
But it is a very complicated issue. You see, you have to, the industry is, the government has tried to give the minimum that can meet the spread of this COVID. And of course, the complaint is there, but they themselves also have heard of a factory where people have had a complete, attack of this COVID disease because of being very many people and even staying in a place as it were. Definitely, the government will try the best it can to make sure that they give chance to people to get to work. And in some cases where they can work online, they work online. Zoom has come, and people have meetings on through the media, the IT system. It's not a normal situation. And as you say, government is the people. So the people who are in industry become part of government to make sure that something still goes on. Of course, the results at the end of the day, it will not be the same production, it will not be the same whatever it is. And adding on what he was saying, I think government is trying, although it is doing this lockdown, to access other markets across in the regional market. It is quite interesting. See how much eggs, I come from the other end of see how much eggs are being taken to Tanzania at the moment. Milk, we have heard about the milk powder, which is going across, although with a lot of competition with the other local people on the other side. But we still have to look for outlet for this material. I mean, these goods which are being produced currently during the lockdown.
Well, I think thank you very much, Honorable Francis Magesa. I can see time is actually not our best ally. Yes, I think parting shots, and I will begin with Honorable Frederick Gume, your parting shot. But I want you to also address the issue of the housing cooperatives, because we see Uganda, because of this pandemic, actually the house stress situation has really come out vividly. That most people, most towns are house stressed, residences stressed. So how do you empower perhaps the housing cooperatives so that maybe we can use this as a learning point in 5-10 years to come? We really have we have a number of houses that can actually accommodate our people.
Thank you very much. I am happy to learn that the cooperators now, even professionals, are coming to form cooperatives. Like I told you, these are voluntary organizations. But what is exciting me is the emergence of the housing cooperatives. People come together put their resources together, and then be able to produce, to give houses to their members at a subsidized rate. There is something going on in Lira and in many other places. So what we need to do is we need the government, and I will definitely, like the minister said, that we should be field people. We need to learn from those that have initiated these housing cooperatives. There's something in Jinja, there's something in Lira, and in many other areas. We should learn from there, and if it means government subvention, we will have to put a request in our development plan, in our annual plan, that such cooperatives need pampering, they need to be helped, they need to be encouraged to continue with the work.
Thank you very much, Honorable Gume. Yes, Honorable Mwebesa, in a minute, your word of advice to the traders, your word of advice to the industrialists and the cooperators.
Well, my word of advice to the traders, it is the government should help, and we have a strong chamber of commerce. Not everybody waking up tomorrow that this is an association of people downtown, this is an association of the rich one and what. Have a national chamber of commerce that starts from anywhere, every corner of they vote and they get their leadership, and that leadership should be able talking together with the government, as you had the cooperators, alliance and all this sort of thing. And so should the manufacturers, they already have the manufacturing association. But the current manufacturing association is not catering. Now the policy is the medium and small scale industries. The government should, we are trying as government to promote those small scale industries. And after all, we have a plan of Uganda of developing a middle class. The middle class will not be of foreign investors or anybody. It has to be of Ugandans.
The indigenous
Ugandans. When you talk about the middle class of a population, it is these young men, and you have had the president how he has been trying to give a yoga, what all sorts of monies are going around here and there, and even the microfinance which he has just talked about. We should try to build up these people for the sake of this country to attain a middle class. The middle class must be the people of Uganda, not somebody else.
Yeah, well, I must thank you very much, Honorable Francis Mwebesa, the Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, and also Honorable Gume Frederick Ngovi, the State Minister for Cooperatives, for coming to share with us and the viewer out there, especially one who is in agriculture and a cooperator, one who is a manufacturer in the industrialist, and those who are in trade, for giving them hope that there is room for engagement so that together we can see how we come out of this pandemic stronger, but most importantly, staying safe. Amanda Kola Mazima saying bye-bye.
Fellow Ugandans, you know that the current COVID-19 period is a trying time in our lives. However, we still have another threat that has been with us for a long time, and it is called neglected tropical diseases, also known as NTDs. NTDs include bilharzia and worms that cause swollen stomachs. Trachoma causes blindness, and elephantiasis causes the swelling of legs. These diseases are affecting millions globally, and yet they can be prevented by regular hand washing with soap and clean running water, regular washing of the face with a soap and clean running water, keeping dirty hands away from your eyes, always using pit latrines, and discouraging open defecation in your community to avoid flies that carry germs, reporting to the health facility early when feeling unwell. Remember to stay safe and protect yourself. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from Ascend Project.